So really, this is one of the most important fruits to have. It's almost up there with the royal laws, love. No matter what you have to say, be, think, deliver, witness, speak, whatever, you have to do it in humility and meekness. No matter what kind of message you have to give, do it humbly, meekness, and do it gently. That's the command. That has to grow within us. So the word is a mirror. We see whether we're doing it or not. If our behaviour is gentle, or if we're just like a bat out of hell and a bull in a china shop when we talk or go about doing things. A mother's gentle touch with her baby is a beautiful image of gentleness and softness. Well, I'm not a mother and I don't have a baby, so I don't... Keep going. The young John had his head on the chest of Yahusha at the disciples' supper in brotherhood and tender affection. Two men laying on each other, just in tender affection, just chatting with one another, easy, comfortable with each other. Of all the words so far, this one conjures in me the image of Yahusha, who, being Elohim, emptied himself of all he was in order to have deep, personal, tender gentleness and softness with each and every man and woman who sought him. He didn't just heal them or command from far off. He came close. He touched people who were diseased and gone untouched for many years. He touched their faces. He lifted them up. He walked with them. He held their hands. He hugged them, embraced them, made them whole again. He did it all through gentleness and softness. This was the delivery of his message of deliverance. He didn't just tell them what deliverance was. He didn't just explain to them what the reign of heaven is. He showed them. He let them feel it through gentleness and softness. If love is our new command, which it is, an utmost revelation of his entire word in action, which it is. If you're loving, you're doing every other word of Scripture. So what are we flabbergasted and dissecting and so obsessed with all these complicated? If love is our new command and the utmost revelation of his entire word in action, then there is no greater outward expression of Yahusha's love for our neighbour than through the movement of our body. How you maneuver yourself in a situation, your body, your hands, what you do with your hands, your posture, your gestures, the tone of your voice and the words we choose to use. It's all got to go into the mix of how we behave. The feeling that comes through our eyes and the way we behave towards others. No matter what's going on inside us, what message we have to deliver, you've got to consider all these things. Gentleness and softness shows humility and a putting off of our own rights. A putting off of our own rights, our own feelings and ideas in order to lift another up and make them feel better than they do. That's what we've got to do. How do we do it? I'm not like this. I'm not a gentle person. I can't do this, Mark. I wasn't, I went through this and that and this and that in my life. Abuse and whatever. I'm not that. Look, this is how you do it. This is what's got to go on inside in order for this to come on the outside. In essence, it is a self-humiliation, a browbeating in order to press, squeeze, literally choke the very life out of our old personality. That's what's happening. Very different to the gentleness that's got to exude from us. On the inside, there's a self-humiliation, a browbeating, a squeezing, a wine press, an oil press, choking the very life out of our old personality. Because that personality was formed out in the quarries of abuse and violence and heartbreak and pain. That's all what we've picked out through the world and we've been subjected to in our life, and that's what we're used to dealing with and coming back like-minded in such a horrific way. That's what's got to die, a personality. Until we hate who and what we are so much that we don't want to know it. We don't want to associate with it, and we don't want to even talk about it anymore, which is ourself. We don't want to talk about ourselves. We don't want to talk about unless someone's genuinely interested and you're showing them look, I was this, and, I understand. On a daily basis, what is the point? Talking about yourself. Aren't you sick of it? Because this is what it really is. Have you faced that that's what it is? Because clearly if someone wants to talk about themselves all the time, they mustn't understand how wicked they are. They mustn't understand what it was. For we truly see, why would you want to go through all this? Because you can truly see how much our cruel words and behaviour have destroyed others, crushed their spirits. And so our response? We become a base, afflicted in submission. This was all back in the Hebrew words. Afflicted in submission for the sake of another, so that they may see a better way. Yahusha's way of doing things. And in a world so wrought with violence, even in most women now also, not just men and women, so violent and aggressive. In a world so violent, for an individual to simply show gentleness, softness and humility in this world, how utterly powerful is that to feel, to see, to experience? That's not even opening your mouth yet. The behaviour. How we submit to another is how we submit to Yahusha. And we know all the scriptures. Wives, submit to your husbands, and this and that and this and that. Husbands, are you willing to submit to your wives? Because that's what being humble is. Are you willing to die? Are you willing to go there? Are you willing to put off things? Are you willing to make her happy? Trust Yahusha's process? How we submit to another is how we submit to Yahusha. This is what's going on in the cocoon, brothers and sisters. Are you getting it yet? Are you getting it yet? Yahusha is not physically here on this earth. And the only way his reign shines through is via the portal, the ark on our new hearts. So the only way anyone will experience anything about him is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness. The only way they'll ever experience him is by us surrendering ourselves over to the possession of his spirit. Letting our old self in the cocoon drop down and die, disintegrate. It has to go so that we are reconstructed anew. Our building blocks are all new, divine. It's all him. We are full of his spirit. That's the only way it's going to work. These attributes don't come naturally, as I've discussed. These attributes don't come naturally. They're actually impossible to perform without a divine heart operation and transition into Yahusha Elohim. They are of him. They're of his reign. His reign is not of this world, and so we must choose to connect people to them. This is the commandment of his royal love law, to become nothing and humble and suffer, just like Yahusha did for us. Doing these things when you first start them, and it's just one thought at a time, and you can hear him. Why don't you try this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you not do what you normally do? Try this instead and see what happens. Just do it. And you hear it and you go, yeah, I'm going to try that. But you've got to stick with it. And it might be suffering. It might be infuriating. But you know you heard it, so you do it. The royal laws of love: become nothing, humble, suffer just like Yahusha did for us. So we do for others. As he did for us, we do for others, that they may receive life. Time is so very short, so nothing else is even worth discussing, is it? What else is there to discuss? How do we love? Gently, softly, kindly, humbly. How do we do it? Love one another. Be gentle and soft now. How do we love? How do we love? We have to love gently, softly, kindly, and humbly. And even though sometimes when we come together in love, the word is a sword, it's Yahusha. And what do we find out about Yahusha? The pain might be very real, the sword might be very excruciating, but the messenger can still be very gentle, soft, loving, kind, because it's not his words, it's Yahusha's words. It's Yahusha's sword. So the pain doesn't necessarily change, but the delivery, the expression, the behavior is to be love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trust, gentleness, gentle. We can go there. Love one another. Be gentle and soft now. Do it now. We can be gentle and soft. Remember, now that I've told you, Remember this, brothers and sisters. Now that I've told you about gentleness, anytime you act in a way that's not gentle and soft, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it.